You probably shouldn't be digging in your ass.
Santa?
Oh, jeez.
Is that your underwear?
Part of it.
Where the hell's the rest of it? No, actually, don't tell me. I don't want to know. What do you want?
I was thinking I wanted a purple stuffed elephant, not pink. But now I changed my mind.
Yeah, what?
Now I don't want an elephant at all. I want a gorilla named Davy for beating up the skateboard kids who pull on my underwear, and he could take his orders from the talking walnut, so it wouldn't be my bad thing.
Jesus, kid. When I was your age, I didn't need no fucking gorilla. And I wasn't as big as one of your legs. 4 kids beat me up one time and I went crying home to my daddy, and you know what he did?
He made it all better?
No, he kicked my ass. You know why?
'Cause you went to the bathroom on Mommy's dishes?
What the fuck? No.
He tried to teach you not to cry and be a man?
No. It's because he was a mean, drunk son of a bitch. And when he wasn't busy busting my ass, he was putting cigarettes out on my neck. The world ain't fair. You gotta take what you need when you can get it. You gotta learn to stand up for yourself. You're gonna have to quit being a pussy and kick these kids in the balls or something. Or don't. Shit, I don't care. Just leave me the hell out of it. Now get on out of here.
Okay, thanks, Santa.
Well, go get the next lucky boy or girl.
Anyways, guys, it's Christmas season. Woo! We got a very interesting setup, and we got a few scenarios I wanted to go over with you guys. Now, let's start off by looking at this. This is a comparison between now and 2004-2005. And this is still my, this is supported by the sports calendar, where we head up to OPEX and then we have the pullback. All right, that is of course supported by this, where next week we well, we're actually here where we would have a dip, the low comes, you know, that would mean CPI is kind of flat, we might get a spike down, and FOMC sends it. So these two fractals support each other, all right, where we just melt up. Now this one is kind of the scenario B I was referring to, where we hit 474 this incoming week. And there's a few things that support it, in my opinion. And one is just the premiums for next week. Now, also that ghost candle doesn't want to wait around too long. But if you look, well, if you've been on the trend, you know that a FOMC or a CPI week can have a $20 range. And we're at 460. So we could easily, I know it sounds crazy, but we can, I mean, think about it. We got OPEX the following week, right? So what would be better than to destroy all the puts this week that have come in over a long period of time, and then when FOMO is full, that's when you drop it into, let's say, end of year for a quad witching. But anyways, back to the premiums this week. Now, those 474s for next week's Friday, I was in them, right? And if you take the time to go look at them, you'll see that they closed at 0.9, but the high was 15 on Friday and the low was 7. So there's some action going on there. Now, that's for scenario B. For scenario A, it's even more interesting, where those December 29s, they kind of made a cup. The high was 61 or 64, the low on Friday was 40, and then it went back up to 63 and closed at 53. But that's not the one that did that crazy move. It was actually the December 22nd, right? They spiked to 94 cents. They opened at 20, spiked to 94, and closed at 24. So something's going on. We kind of have a second ghost candle, in my opinion. That's for December 22nd. So I do think that there's a possibility to go up there. Now, those are kind of the different scenarios. Now, then there's other, besides the sports calendar, look, this is QQQ and it unwinding, but it kind of looks like take my one another go. Then you got this is also just like straight melt up all of, and again, keep in mind, this is pre-election year. And this would just have us melting up all of December. And coming to January, looking pretty hot. So I would call that, scenario C. Same with this one, just straight melt up. Now, the sports calendar shows us a dip next week, whether it's CPI or FOMC. But the fact of the matter is, if you look at the VIX, we're kind of right here, right? It has a big drop and then a bounce. So the VIX seasonality kind of supports scenario B. Okay, so I just wanted to put that out there before we start digging into things. Now, this is SPX, okay? We got a nice looking, we were able to push price higher. We weren't able to keep high a day or above that first high, so that is bearish. But come Monday open, all we need to do is open even a cent above closing price, and then this becomes resistance. Now, if we open below, I would not at all be surprised if we don't go down to here, whether it's on CPI or FOMC. Now, next week is really, really important. We have to trade above the FOMC announcement price, the announcement price, okay? The announcement price, we either trade the next period until the next FOMC above or below. This is again, where did I pick this up? By the same guy who told me about this guy. Okay, so again, a guy who's traded successfully for 30 plus years. Worth taking in, as opposed to some douchebag on Twitter who wants to bag you. Now, okay, so hope that is clear. And I just wanted to show you guys another thing. Let's go to the weekly. Now, if you look at the weekly and zoom out, you got your cup, pullback, and handle, and usually these go higher. Now, if you look on the weekly, you could also say that this is a V-shaped recovery. And what usually happens after that, a little bit of consolidation, which we've done, and then we blast off. I'm not coming out here and saying that we 100% go up. I have no clue. I am here to piece together the puzzle and give an assessment. Can we absolutely, on FOMC, drill? Yes. And what then becomes the target? Well, if we start drilling from FOMC, it's all of these gaps. This one first, right? SPY's going to 440, and it can do that pretty fast. But if it can do that pretty fast, and you look at this MACD that we were talking about on the daily that crossed and then started to curl, and you got the stoke coming up, it can as equally put on another $14, right? So if you're out there being a bear and you're saying that we can fill this gap easily, yes, we could. As easily we can go up to 474 on SPY. Now, this has kind of saved us many times, in my opinion. That's a lot of calls. It's not necessarily into QQQ. It's just the whole market. That's why it's market net flow. And there's a lot of stuff that hasn't ran yet. Now, let's talk about another thing. VIX hit the yearly low and broke support into close. Look at that. That has said as 1, 2, 3 times. You could even count 4. That broke. So, let's go on the daily. That's not looking very good on the daily also. 1, 2, 3, and a cluster. Where is it going? Well, you gotta keep zooming out, right? So now we're in this area. We're in COVID lows on the VIX. Can it go lower? I've always said yes, it can. It totally can go lower. That's why I've never told a single person to buy SQQQ. So, where can it go? Down to here, to 850. Would that be a great place to think about them? Yeah. But, again, I mean, look at it. That's our box. Rejected it. Boom. Once that 1970 magic level... I still remember Doug saying on the voice chat, hey, and Matt too, that we just, is VIX 1970 still a level? And I was like, and we've gone literally straight down from there. And that was kind of the trigger of the rally, wasn't it? You know, Dixie had an up day on Friday. Again, you kind of have to look at the daily. As I said, you can go over, rejected that huge spot come Monday, Tuesday. And the Dixie is going to show the way, as will the 10-year yield. It went freaking sideways on Friday. But again, back under the 9, this is curling, the 200 is curling. I would keep an eye on this though. This is ready to launch back up. So I'm not saying that we're going 100% upside, but if we do, again, 474 is the target. Now Bitcoin over the weekend holding pretty well. Sorry if my long guy is making a bunch of sounds, but he is. So last week again we watched that and we watched this and we got that cross upwards, and we've spent, I'm not even gonna go through the pain of counting all of these candlesticks, but looking pretty good. And again, my ultimate target is 5,082, and we could start a crazy ass bull rally here into January OPEX, where buy the dip every freaking day. And in that case, this is the black horse. Horse number 49 you want to be betting on. And if this pulls back, totally possible this week, but it can also just go. So again, that could not be the pattern. It could actually be a W pattern that is way underway, as you see, and just absolutely melt up. So this is going to be a moneymaker in my opinion. The NAMO, before we get into individuals, bounced. It has, like the MACD and the STO, kind of pulled back to reload, and its RSI is at 50, so it's got plenty of room if it chooses to go. All right, so next week ends with OPEX. Okay, so OPEX, you got, next week is gonna be crazy. So again, you don't have to bet a lot, because we can have absolutely crazy moves, and I don't want anybody to get bagged. So you can take some nice lottos and sit on them, okay? Either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, and we'll play it all live. I'll be on voice, but then you got OPEX on Friday. We haven't had a melt up OPEX Friday for a while. I would think that there's a lot of freaking calls and puts to be killed, so maybe we're flat and then we have a short-term bottom the days after. Impossible to say. We also haven't had a OPEX in a while that melts up. I would imagine there's a lot of freaking puts that also need to be killed. And then you got quad witching, you know, in this week. This week is going to be kind of a scalp week for me, whatever moves, because you got Christmas and quad witching, and from here into the next OPEX is going to be pretty interesting. Now, with that said, let's take a look at some other stuff. And I started this segment by speaking about, SPX, but I do want to show that after hours, we chugged right back up. So if it opens here, we've done this move that we were talking about here. Okay, we've done it. Now, let's extend this a little further and see. Basically, to reach that point, we got to go over this trend line. I would keep an eye on this trend line as of right now, because it will probably reject. All right. But anyways, let's get into these individuals. So SPY after hours, nice. QQQ the same. Apple, nice little end of day stick here. It's gonna be crazy if Apple breaks 200, and before it breaks 200, it obviously needs to take out this high that can totally be on the cards next week. Okay, why? Well, as Double J said, people are buying iPhones. Tesla, it is so freaking ready to go, and once it breaks this trend line here next week, which you should have drawn in from the top there, put on the daily chart, pull it down, its price target is going to go over here. It just melts up. Okay, Nvidia, we played Nvidia pretty freaking nicely on Friday, and again, I mean, this stock is the shit, because it literally opened at 450 on there, and then now it's at 475, and it's had plenty of time now to unwind the premiums after earnings, and AMD showing incredible strength over the 21 on the daily. I'm actually going to put an alert here. Over that, it's gonna go to 505. Look at the Stowe. I didn't even have the MACD on here, but let's just entertain the thought of checking out the MACD. Yeah, you see that curl? I mean, that's the setup I like. I based most of my trades off that. So, bull flag can go absolutely crazy next week. Watch out for the premiums, though. Carvana, same dealio. I mean, I've been trying to get into this. I know it's ready to fucking pop, and it will soon. It's just, you see, it's been loading. It's been loading. It's ready to go. First of all, I want to say I love you, UPSD. You're like my favorite stock to trade now. Love the killing of the MACD after hours. It's ready, and I'm in the 44s. Why I'm in the 44s? Well, that's why I'm in the 44s. That's why I'm in the 44s. Look at this sell here, down from 70. This was probably, if you put $1,000 on this trade that week, you probably made a gazillion dollars. So Google, after that earnings drop, it chugged back up, rejected that level. It's come down, and it's kind of rejected 140 again. I want to keep an eye on this, if this MACD can get over. So let's keep an eye on Google. It could be a total ripper. Same with Meta. It didn't quite close over 333. Ha ha ha. But it's there. It's right freaking there. And if it opens above it, I think it could see 345 next week. So keep Meta and Google on watch. I mean, talk about a nice swing trade after hours. Absolutely melted. I'm going to hold my 12s. Probably going to look at some 13s come next week. I know I scaled out of them. Unity, though. Unity is lagging so freaking hard and it's been in this area now for 5 days. It's a great shot at a freaking Candellini, just like in June. Sticks like that. Okay, because once it consolidates, it'll go. Once it consolidates, it'll go. Once it consolidates, it'll go. And this is now downward consolidation. This is like holding. So very interesting setup. Again, we covered UPST. I basically am just keeping this up here to see, because Hood kind of trades with it. Now Target, look at that. After hours shows up on TradingView, not on Robinhood or anything else, but that's very interesting. So something's going on there. SoFi holding above the trend line, hasn't pulled its move yet up to fill this little gap here at 10. So I'm watching that. Obviously it's been hit with terrible news. I've got Citigroup up here because someone obviously bought a shit ton of calls, so banking sector might go. And I'm kind of going to stick to these names we've been trading. If I see something else, absolutely will jump on it. However, we've kind of been eyeing all these trades. I mean, there's no... You know, again, I want to say that we were in Dash last week because I saw a bunch of action on it. So Dash is going to be added to the NQ100 and Zoom's going to be removed. Okay? And... MongoDB is also going to be added to the index. So let's pull up MongoDB as well. Baba, yeah, at some point, but not right now. So MongoDB is going to be added to the index, and it has sold off ever since earnings. Remember? Okay. So look at that. So if tech goes, this goes. And how high can it go? 440. It's at 381 right now. You're like, really? And I'm saying, all tech names have retraced their earnings gap down in this cycle. So Doug or whoever, please remember, remind me of MongoDB. All right, now let's get into the good stuff here. Yeah. All right, so see that? I mentioned this on Friday, that they were selling QQQ and buying a shit ton of SPY. There you see it. That is a one, on the 1 minute chart, pretty extraordinary. It's even making a mark here on the 15 minutes. So that is substantial. There you still see that ghost candle. I think price is gonna respect that ghost candle, and you got absolute crazy ass flow. KRE, they also came in at the end to buy the dip, and again, as for KRE, see that? No freaking dip on the 15 minute as opposed to SPY. They pretty much got out for this whole chop here, guys. If you look, like they pumped it up, sold it, and now they're coming back in very substantially, which also corroborates my theory that we're about to blast off. IWM, they're buying the dip, they're pushing it higher, they're coming in. Now, obviously, they sold that pop and they started really selling this pop here on Hood, but they drove it back up again. Today is the day the SEC is doing some funky shit. That's why. Remember I said, I even took flack on freaking, what was it, TikTok from some dudes who were like, what are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, look at Coinbase. All right, so Hood's got mad flow. But at some point, I mean, they're selling this 15, so I'm not going to stick around in Hood too long. All right? Let's check Google. They're buying the 15 minute here. Obviously, since earnings, they've been selling. And that's what I'm saying. They've been selling it, but you can see on the 1 minute here, they've started to buy it. So that's why I'm bringing up Google, because I see a shift here. I didn't show you guys QQQ. That's why I'm like, some of these tech names, yeah, but look at that. Look at where they really started selling this shit, and then look at what QQQ has done. So I personally am still gonna be looking at other stuff than tech, except for a few names, because this is transferring into there as of right now. Okay, then we have, let's look at Target, what Target's dark pool is doing. To kind of ease our minds. There you see buying on the 1 minute into close, no flow because it's still consolidating, okay? But on the 1 minute you can see that they're coming back in, so this consolidation period might be drawing to a close, which is awesome. All right, Unity. It's a very, very interesting name. They've been holding it and it's gaining some flow. The 15-minute flow still tells me yes, but again, they've dropped this, but then they've started to nibble on it. That's why it's holding, okay? UPST they've been unloading it a lot. However, I've caught every single dip on it based on the 1 minute, and it's very subtle. That's why I think it could have a squeeze. Would I like be investing in it right now? No, I still think it has a move, then it needs to reject, and then they'll probably start buying it, okay? But it's still a hot name for me. And let's check Carvana. It's probably why it hasn't gone yet. Now, I wanted to check two more names. One is Tesla and Apple. Tesla nibbling on the bottom there, as you can see, pretty substantially actually. Yeah, that's looking ripe for a pop. And last week, I mean, they keep unwinding Apple, but then anytime it needs to be saved, it is saved. So let's keep an eye on it if this starts picking up here. All right, guys, with that said, I'm very excited for next week, and I will see you on Monday bright and early. It's gonna be before it's bright here. Hopefully this is of use to you. It should be. And love yourself, love your family, and God bless.